Everyone, my name is Amy Migunda, for those of you who don't know. I am at St. Andrew's School, Turi. I'm 17 years old, and I just completed Year 12. That means that I only took 4 subjects, and because I was blessed to have passed my GCSEs, this was a task. But I ended up picking my 4 favorite subjects, and I will end up dropping history, but I will continue with my sciences, and this has inspired my project for this year. I went to Sagam Community Hospital, which is in Siaya County. Grown from my interest in disease and immunity that I developed at A-level biology, I wanted to delve into one disease in particular, malaria. Did you know that every minute, one person dies from malaria? That means, if you add it all up, in a year, 500,000 people have died of malaria. And this is a curable disease. When I continued to research into the hospital and online with the World Health Organization, I realized that it's children, especially under the age of 5, that are most susceptible to this disease. 61% of all deaths are children under 5 years. And all I could imagine is just how horrible that must be for little children to be spending so much time in hospitals, checking in and out, and how disheartened they must feel. So I came up with 2 objectives. One is to fully understand the in and outs of malaria, the parasite, its makeup, the development, and of course the treatment. And 2, to try and brighten up the children who have been affected by malaria and improve their experience while in the wards. So I began my project. I attended daily rounds, had interactions with the patients as well as nurses, had a one-on-one conversation with the pediatrician, and took regular visits to the labs. And after this, I had a full understanding of what malaria entailed. And what stood out almost instantly was that treatment is no longer the problem, it's prevention. What this means is that people are becoming more aware of malaria and its problems, and so they are understanding of the symptoms, and once they start to notice them, then they'll just go to a pharmacy and self-diagnose. So they just pick up medication for malaria. What this does is it can create a whole new problem of resistance, and that will make malaria an even bigger problem. So what I aimed at doing was highlighting prevention. So I created a flyer that I handed out at the clinic throughout my time there, and it was really just emphasizing the preventative measures that you can take so that you don't have to go through the whole process of treating malaria. And I provided the PDF with the clinicians at the hospital so that they could continue to circulate the information even when I wasn't around. In addition, I gave a talk at the antenatal clinic to pregnant and nursing mothers because they were my target, as young children are mostly affected by malaria. This was the most challenging part of my experience there because I had to give the whole talk in Kiswahili. And for those of you who don't know, I struggle to articulate Swahili very well. But in order to communicate my message most effectively, I was trying to prevent as many barriers as possible. Because the hospital is a community one, they work together with the government to provide free treated nets to all the mothers in this program. And so what I did was just emphasize how important this process is in order to prevent themselves and their children getting malaria. So when I went, it was not malaria season. And this is a huge problem for me because there were no children at the ward. About 90% of the cases at the hospital of children admitted are under the case of malaria. So there are about 1, 2, maybe 3 children in the ward at a time. And because their cases weren't as serious, they would only spend a night or so. this just meant I couldn't have a long-term impact on any one child, but I did spend about an hour at the pediatric ward every day so that I could read to the children and just try and raise their spirits because they were very down every time they were admitted. At the same time, I had asked classmates in school to donate children's books and children's toys. So I had a friend in Nairobi who collected all of these books and toys. And as my mom came to pick me up, she brought them with her and we handed them over to the hospital and they received them well. They did have a shelf that they used to put all the books inside. And I was so glad because I was able to delegate a nurse to continue reading to the really young children and just continue to make sure that they weren't as down because they needed more attention than adults, per se. This experience was unforgettable for many reasons, but one of them is that I found out that, like previously said, I could mix my passions. And from what I learned at A-level, I could try and implement real change. And so what I want to do is hire my education so that I can create groups of like-minded people so that we can fix such heavy problems and make them a lot less problematic for our continent. I would just like to give a big thanks to everyone at the hospital, my mom for giving me support even when she wasn't with me there, and just the whole Beacon community for making me see that I can find things that I really want to make an impact in.